Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news now, folks. If you follow the Detroit Lions closely, you know that this team is always in a constant state of evolution, especially as they gear up for what promises to be an exciting season. And recent moves, though seemingly small on the surface, actually tell us a lot about the team's current strategic direction and their ambitions for the year ahead. So, let's dive into what's been happening with the Lions, particularly on their practice squad, and what it might mean for their overall roster and future prospects. Just recently, the Lions made a couple of significant roster moves that are worth dissecting. They officially announced the signing of quarterback C.J. Beathard to their practice squad, while simultaneously releasing edge rusher Isaac Ukwu. Now, these moves might seem routine at first glance, but when you dig a little deeper, they reveal quite a bit about the team's current priorities, especially in the quarterback room and on the defensive front. Let's start with the quarterback situation, because this is an area that has garnered attention from Lions fans all season long. Coach Dan Campbell has been pretty transparent about the team's desire to have a veteran presence behind Jared Goff. We all know Goff is the unquestioned starter, a true leader on and off the field, but having a reliable backup is crucial, especially in the NFL where injuries can happen at any moment. Earlier in the week, Campbell emphasized the importance of bringing in an experienced quarterback who can step in if needed, and that's where C.J. Beathard comes into play. Beathard, a veteran with NFL experience, provides the Lions with a level of insurance that can't be understated. He's been around the league for a few years now, serving as a backup for several teams, and he's shown enough in practice and preseason to earn a spot on their practice squad. His role is primarily as a backup to Jared Goff, but he also acts as a mentor and a stabilizing presence for the younger quarterbacks in the organization, including Kyle Allen, who's been more established as the QB2. This move makes sense because, as we all saw last year, depth at the quarterback position can be the difference between a playoff run and an early exit. Having someone like Beathard, who knows the league and understands the game, is a smart move by the Lions front office. But the flip side of this transaction involves Ukwu, who, up until this point, had been part of the Lions' defensive roster. Ukwu, who signed with the Lions as an undrafted free agent earlier this year, had spent most of the season on the practice squad but was elevated for 2 games. During those appearances, he registered 3 tackles. Not eye-popping numbers, but enough to show that he was developing and could potentially contribute in a pinch. Ukwu's journey with the Lions has been interesting because he signed a futures contract in the offseason, which indicates the team saw some potential in him. However, during the recent roster cuts, Ukwu was waived, only to be re-signed to the practice squad. That's a common path for young players fighting for their spot, and it shows the Lions are keeping an eye on his potential. Now, with Ukwu no longer part of the roster, the Lions face a slightly more precarious situation on their defensive end. As of now, they only have 5 healthy defensive ends available for the upcoming games. The starters, Aiden Hutchinson and Marcus Davenport, are obviously locked in as the primary pass rushers. Behind them, Alquadin Mohammed is a dependable reserve, and Tyrus Wheat, who was claimed off waivers from the Cowboys, adds depth. Additionally, the Lions recently signed Andre Carter to their practice squad, another veteran pass rusher who has NFL experience, including time with the Vikings. All of this points to a team that is trying to balance the need for depth while managing their roster within the salary cap and roster constraints. It's also important to highlight that Josh Paschal, another talented pass rusher, is currently on the non-football injury list, which means he'll miss at least the first 4 games of the season. That puts even more pressure on the other pass rushers to step up early on in the season. The Lions are clearly trying to build a robust and versatile defensive front, knowing how vital pass rushers are in today's NFL. Pressure on the quarterback often translates directly into wins, especially against division rivals. Speaking of division rivals, this recent roster shuffle could have ripple effects in the NFC North. The Lions have been steadily building momentum, with a strong defense and an explosive offense led by Jared Goff. Their offensive line has been solid, and their skill players, like Amon-Ra St. Brown, continue to develop into top-tier weapons. But it's on defense where the Lions have been looking to improve, especially in the pass rush department. The addition of Andre Carter and the depth at defensive end, despite Ukwu's departure, suggests that Detroit is determined to bolster their pass rush and be more disruptive against divisional opponents like the Packers, Vikings, and Bears. Looking at the bigger picture, the Lions coaching staff, led by Dan Campbell, has been emphasizing resilience, adaptability, and a relentless pursuit of excellence. These roster moves are just part of the puzzle, fine-tuning the team to be as competitive as possible. The Lions have already shown flashes of brilliance in recent seasons, finishing 9-8 last year, narrowly missing the playoffs. But the expectations are higher now. Fans are hungry for a deep playoff run, and every move, every signing, every release is aimed at making that happen. What's also notable is how the Lions are managing their roster with a long-term perspective. Signing Beathard to the practice squad is not just about this season. It's about having experienced backup insurance, especially if Goff were to get injured or need a breather during a game. They're also carefully managing their defensive depth to account for injuries and strategic needs throughout the grueling NFL season. This kind of roster management is a hallmark of a team that's aiming to stay competitive and make a serious push in the NFC. So, what does all of this tell us about the current state of the Detroit Lions? It's clear that they're in a thoughtful, strategic phase. They're not just trying to patch things up for a quick season. They're building a resilient, versatile roster capable of competing at a high level week in and week out. The addition of an experienced quarterback like Beathard underscores their focus on stability, while the defensive moves show a desire to generate more pressure on opposing quarterbacks, a key factor if they want to challenge the Packers and Vikings at the top of the division. It's also worth noting that the Lions coaching staff continues to emphasize player development and depth. They want their roster to be flexible enough to handle the inevitable injuries and unexpected setbacks that come with a long NFL season. Every move they make is part of a larger puzzle, one aimed at contending for the playoffs and, ultimately, a Super Bowl appearance. The fans can be confident that the Lions are not resting on their laurels. They're actively shaping a team that's hungry, prepared, and eager to prove themselves. And of course, the excitement isn't just about roster moves. It's about the potential of this team to surprise everyone, to ascend the NFC North ladder, and to give their fans something to cheer for week after week. Jared Goff's leadership has been instrumental, and with the right support around him, on both offense and defense, the Lions can become a real force. The addition of veterans and the strategic management of their roster show that the Lions are playing the long game, aiming not only for a solid season, but for sustained success that could take them deep into the playoffs and beyond. As we look ahead, the NFC North looks more competitive than ever. The Packers are still a threat, the Vikings are always lurking, and the Bears are trying to re-establish themselves. But the Lions are positioning themselves as serious contenders, and these latest roster moves are just a part of their larger plan to stay ahead of the curve. They're building a team that can adapt, that can respond to adversity, and that can ultimately chase a Super Bowl dream. So Lions fans, keep your eyes on this team. They're making moves, strategic and thoughtful, and every single step they take is aimed at turning this season into something special. Whether it's the veteran leadership of Beathard or the depth behind Hutchinson and Davenport, everything points to a team that's serious about winning. And with Campbell's leadership, Goff's experience, and the talent they're assembling, the sky's the limit for Detroit. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news. We're in this together, and the best is yet to come for this incredible team.